you know, I think the key behind it is just to keep it in mind is that we're just kind of a record of, you know, a little bit of what you remember growing up and back in the prairies, and you know, a little bit about your background and stuff like that, and what you recall, you know, different things.
What do you want me to start with? I don't know.
Well, just
What?
You know, when Virgil was here, he said to me, you were one of the only people left that he could talk about the horses that you used to ride or something on the farm, and the names. He even had the names. What were they?
I forget what he said, but they were. Silver was, of course, they had silver color, and she died with a heart attack because she was laying like this when they found her dead, with her legs under the front of her.
Yeah, but that isn't the names he used.
No, and then there was, I forget what, Jane.
Yeah.
Jane was a mule.
Well, he talked
And
about
Tony was a horse, and that was the team, Tony and Jane. And they had, Dad, I can remember, Dad had a team of mules, Min and Maud. One was white and one was black. Maud was white, Min was black. They were nice little mules. I can remember riding with them, behind them lots of time.
See, we were just saying that this is the year, start of the year 2000. And in 13 years, Mom would have lived 100 years.
wow.
She was born in 1913. So, just think of all the changes, Daryl.
Yeah. Well, growing up
You know?
in Mare, that's where you were born, wasn't it, Mare?
That's out on the farm, yeah, 3 miles from there.
Right. And the hardships, and did Grandpa ever talk to you about, you know, coming from, how did he get here anyway,
I'm
from
trying to
the
think of
States?
some of the things on the farm.
Well,
Do you
you've
remember
read
the
his
farm?
story,
Not
haven't
very
you?
much.
Well, you can go ahead and tell it, if you want to.
Well, how they came up from the States in a boxcar. Uncle Elmer was smuggled in because he didn't have a passport or something.
Oh, I never heard that before.
Oh, no, I never heard that either.
They covered him up in the buggy with quilts and that when they came to the customs.
I never knew that.
No.
Virgil was talking about that too when he was here.
Oh, is it?
And then
Isn't
they
that-
got off at Walkup and they had to wait overnight or something. There was a storm on and they couldn't go any farther.
What time of year?
I don't
In the spring?
really know what time of the year it
I
was.
wonder when they came out.
March maybe or April. There was a big storm on anyway and they had to stay over and walk all night. And then they went to a little old shack, Dad and Uncle. Uncle Albert was already here, like
Well, did he have a farmhouse or something that they could go to?
Uncle Albert had,
Yeah.
but then Dad just lived in a little shack out on the.
He wouldn't stay with his brother.
You want to close that door there, so he wouldn't stay there, or?
Well, they lived together, Dad and Uncle, in this little shack, and Dad said he was the cook and he used to make bacon butter biscuits. Were so hard they couldn't eat them, so they put them on the fence post and shot bullets at them for target practice.
Well, was Grandpa a hunter? Did he hunt?
I don't think too much, no. Not too much.
Well, how did they get their protein in the middle of winter? Wonder.
Well, they had some cattle with them. I don't know how they did that because there was
Yeah.
no mare at that time. The mare was out, they called it Rose Plain, and the post office was out where Mr. Davy lived, but Pattons lived there and had the post office, and they called it Rose Plain.
Hmm. Well,
And-
now.
But I don't know if they had a store there or not. It was just post office, as far as I know. I don't know where they.
And that was when, was that the 1800s then, or
1907.
1907?
I don't know when they
So
came
how-
up.
Yeah, 1907. 'Cause-
So
Yeah.
how did Grandpa meet Grandma then?
Oh, he knew her before he came to Canada. But then he went back and they got married in 1909.
And then he
the
brought her
6th
up
of
here.
January.
He must have built the house first?
Yeah, he built the house before she came.
And the house that we saw was just like a granary, almost.
Well,
that
now
when she
it's
came?
4 walls and this roof, that's all that's left of it.
Now it's back to the granary.
And Belina, or who, you had a picture of it, the way
Lena
it
had,
was
yeah.
then, that's the way it is now.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know if it is even there now, because that's a couple of years since I've been out there.
So how did you meet Uncle Raymond?
We came to Gates's to work on the farm.
Where was he born?
He was born at Eber, Manitoba, in 1906.
And he was a farmhand then, or?
Yeah, farmhand. And then we were married in 1935.
Yeah, but you were in love with him when you were 14 years
Yeah,
old.
I was 14 years old. I knew he was the guy I wanted to marry, but he couldn't see me till I was 18. And then we went together for 4 years before we got married. And he was playing in the orchestra with Vernon and Elroy and Harold Hawes and well, the 3 of them and Harold.
What were
played
they
for
called?
4 Aces.
4 Aces.
And then a fella by the name of Siggy Johnson came from Sinclair, Manitoba, and he could play anything. He'd take the mouthpiece off a clarinet and you'd think he had the whole thing. You know, he was a marvelous player. Then I heard about, 3 years ago that he just died, a couple of years before that. He played with Mark Kenny, and he played in, he had a symphony orchestra that he played in the Royal York Hotel in Toronto.
Oh, boy.
But when he was overseas in the Air Force, he had a band there. And then, of course, it was after the war he played with Mark Kenny. Then one time Elroy said that Mark Kenny came to Nelson, and he was asking Mark Kenny about Siggy, and he said he wasn't playing with him anymore, but he remembered him well. But he was just a great musician.
Yeah, but I bet he wasn't
like
as...
Irma Olsen, he was full of music, you know.
I was going to say, I bet he wasn't any better than Daryl.
Oh, maybe not, but it was nice then. But he used to put papers down inside of the piano for the hammers to hit on. You'd swear he had a drum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was lots of fun. He was fun. And Vernon used to have an ocarina.
Oh, yeah.
I remember we were going to the
What's
lake.
an ocarina?
Like a squeeze box, like that.
Oh,
Sweet potato, they called it.
That's sweet potato.
We were going up to the lake one time. They were going up to play for a dance up there, and I was along. But I remember Siggy having this ocarina, and he played all the way up there on this darn thing.
Did you play the piano, Mom? You played the piano.
I took 9 lessons.
Oh, okay.
But Dad had this cello,
Mm-hmm.
and Siggy came, and he'd seen them and everything, but he had never played. He just went over with the bow, and then just once. And then he played Turkey in the Straw, just like that. And it's backwards to a violin, yet he knew how to play a violin, you know.
That's unbelievable.
But where was I born? In that same house you were? No.
Dwayne was born in the same room I was,
On the farm, Mare.
in the farm, yeah. And then June was born on 25.
On that house we were looking
tar
for.
paper shack that we went looking for and got lost once. Got stuck and
We
got
were
lost.
outstanding in our
What year was
field.
that? What year was that?
That we went looking for the house? Oh, 67 years ago? I think it was. Yeah.
I don't know, we went down to Redbush to the doctor at 9 o'clock in the morning, and on the way back we went, when we would come up to the Mare Corner, June says, let's go to the cemetery, I want some pictures of the
Swanson
Swanson
headstones.
and that. So we got there and she said, kind of like to see the house I was born in. So we started out, and it was in February, Wansfield time.
Well, that was 93? 94?
No.
1994?
Oh, it was before that.
Well, I think I was here in this house, so we were here we moved here in 89, so it might be 90,
I don't know.
1990.
And then we got stuck because June kept going this way instead of this way.
Did you ever go to the old house, Ray? Did you know? No.
We should move in a little bit, June, just to
Okay.
get just a little bit closer there, yeah.
And we got stuck and we started walking, and I thought we were going
And I
northwest
had
and we were
heels.
going southwest. We were going up to Swanson's.
Oh, no.
And we got walking and walking and walking and walking over the frozen terrain. And June had high heels on her
Well,
boots.
yeah, leather boot. I told Mom they're gonna find us under one of these sheaves next
It
spring.
started to snow a little bit too,
Yeah.
and she said, "Oh, they'll pick us up in the spring." But then we saw a building, and we thought, well, looks like somebody lives there, because through the trees, it looks like somebody lives there. There's curtains in the windows through the trees. When you get up there's no windows, period.
But there were curtains.
And here, I didn't
Oh,
recognize
so
the place.
funny. It was the
Except
old
we got up
house?
close enough, and here's this
Old house.
diamond-shaped window on the side, on the north side of this house. And I thought, well, that looks like our place, Dad's place. Or I couldn't think of anybody else that had a window like that. And then I went around the house, and there was a little pump house out there. Sure enough, it was Dad's.
Was-
And I didn't recognize that place.
It was-
Yeah, I was so lost.
It was the stone barn that he had started to build that we recognized. He never finished it.
And I thought it was Holloway's we were going to.
So when you were,
So then we had another mile to go down to Ronnie Russell's.
Which was
so-
Uncle Elmer's.
Which was Uncle Elmer's place. Over snowbanks and through mud. And
did you drive down or walk down?
We were walking.
we
Our
were
car was
walking all
stuck.
this way. From the car, it got stuck. And Ronnie took us back up there, and he couldn't even, it was a nice day, and it was just warm enough to make mud on
Oh,
the
no.
field, and his truck tires skidded, so then he had to go up to Swanson's and get, I forget what his name was. Wasn't
Tractor.
Eric.
But
it
you
was
should have seen the look on those faces of the Russells when we came around that
house.
house. Two women out walking in the middle of it.
Ronnie recognized me, but he didn't recognize June when he saw us.
Oh, so funny. But anyway, Daryl, we're getting off the track here.
Well, I just wanted
Oh,
to find a little bit about your experiences growing up, and some things that you can talk about.
Oh dear, I don't know.
I like the story of when you had that baby pig, and you had to take it in the buggy and go through, get out and latch the
Bennett
gates
buggy.
and
Bennett
That was-
wagon.
Okay, then this is the. Go ahead, Mildred.
Oh.
This is the
Mr.
story.
Murphy told us that if we came down and got this little runt pig, we could have it. So it was just after June was born. She was a baby, and Raymond stayed
What
with
year
her.
would what year would this be?
Out on 25 there.
1925.
But
On 25.
what year?
Oh, 39 when you were just
Oh.
week,
1939.
2 weeks after you were born. Now you remember.
Yeah, right.
And this team of horses, you'd say whoa to them and they'd stop, and then as soon as you picked up the lines, away they'd go again. And I had to open the gate. I had Dwayne, and I had a bag that I was going to put this little pig in an apple box on this flat Bennett wagon. And I had to stop and open the gate, so I had to take the kid with me and
The
open the
kid.
gate. Well, Dwayne, he was only, 3 years old. And I didn't dare leave him on this flat bottom thing, or the
I
horses
thought it
would
was
take off.
me. I thought it was me. you had.
No, you were a baby.
Oh, I thought it was me all the time.
And then the gate was up here, and it was down here to get on the road. And the horses went lickety-bang as soon as I picked up the lines, and the box fell off. The wheel ran over it and smashed it. So I knew I couldn't leave it there, because the horses would shy at it coming back. So I had to whoa, and they'd stop. Take the kid with me, go and take this box up against the fence, come back again, pick up the line, and away we went. Got this little pig, then I had to put him in the bag and sit on the bag, hold the kid and drive the horse, open the gate, all over again. And that little pig was so small, and it hadn't had anything to eat. I couldn't hardly get a tablespoon of milk down in it. with a dye dropper. That's all it could hold. We raised that little pig, and Raymond traded it for a bred sow to Uncle Elmer. And we got 9 little pigs. When they grew up, we sold them. We got our first car.
Isn't that? That's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a true prairie story.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Uncle Raymond a little bit. When you guys were living, when you were doing the elevator agent and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
well, we went to Fairlight in 1941 from 25 in the lumberyard, and he got $60 a month, and we were rich. Because on the farm we had a cow, and we milked, and we sold 2 gallons of milk for, what was it, 59 cents.
Just imagine.
Of cream, that is, 59 cents for 2 gallons of cream. And if I churned it and took it to town, I got 10 cents a pound for the butter.
Oh my God.
Traded it for groceries. And then Mom would get, well, Raymond would go over and help milk the cows over there too, so we got every 3rd cream check. Mom would get one, and Auntie Jean and Vernon would get one, and we'd get one. So
See,
it was every
look at how
3rd week
Grandpa
we got a
helped us
cream
out.
check of $1.65, I think, for 5 gallons of cream.
We had to work together.
And then we had our 59-cent one about every 2 weeks or so, but we had to put it down in the well to keep it cold, because we had no fridge, no way of keeping it otherwise.
What about disasters and storms and all kinds of stuff?
How about houses on
I
fire?
remember dust storm was so bad one time I had to light the lamp at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was just like night.
Oh, but
That's
Mom,
right.
you gotta tell the story of when the house was on fire.
Oh,
Have you heard that story?
That's the one where you're washing clothes with gasoline, is that
No.
it?
no.
This was when Mom and Dad were first married.
No, it was
Oh.
when Vernon and Jean were on their honeymoon.
Oh, yeah.
And they had
Yeah.
come home the night, or were going to come home, and Mom and Dad were going to have the whole Hamilton crew over for dinner on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And this was Saturday night. And all day Sunday, no, all day Saturday, Mom and I scrubbed and waxed and polished to get ready for this company the next day. And so we had it all done, and we went to bed. And 12 o'clock, a voice said to me, "Wake up, Mildred, the house is on fire." A voice said that to me. And I jumped out of bed, and I took the covers and jumped over the baby's crib on beside my bed,
No, it's Dwayne.
and it was Dwayne.
Dwayne.
And I thought maybe Raymond had said that, "Wake up, the house is on fire." He said the first thing he knew, I jumped out of bed and took the covers with me. And they were spread right from the bed over to the stairway. And I took a look, the flames were coming out of this lean-to over the kitchen. There, maybe you remember that board Mom used to have standing up there. She used to keep the dirty clothes basket for the upstairs men.
Was this in Merrifield then, or?
No,
On the
no,
farm.
out on the farm.
Oh, on the farm. No, I don't remember being there.
No, you don't remember
No.
being out there? Okay. Meredith might. And anyway, Dad heard my feet hit the floor. The first thought he had was that Vernon and Jean had come home and somebody found out, and they were going to chivalry them. That was his first thought. And they were right in front of where the fire was coming out. There was a register, and then the furnace register was below that, downstairs. And Dad was standing on the register down there, and I said, "Wake up, the house is on fire." And Dad said, "The house is on fire?"
She can
"Yes, the
remember.
house is on fire." So I tore downstairs to get the water pail. That was the first thing I could think of, the drinking water pail. And in my hurrying, I slopped water all over this freshly waxed floor and all up the stairs. And Raymond stopped and put his overalls and his shoes on, and he took the baby down.
Oh, yeah.
But I was upstairs and had thrown the water on the fire by that time. And then Raymond was downstairs and he just happened to turn around. My dad had gone and got those old fire extinguishers that were about this big around,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
those,
with
yeah.
the powder in them.
Yeah.
He had one in each hand, and he's hurrying, and he slipped.
On
And
this
Raymond
water.
said he just turned it around in time to see Dad sliding with his feet up in the air under the china cabinet on the slippery floor.
Didn't break anything
And
though.
he didn't break anything.
Oh, gee.
And I was upstairs, and he comes stumbling up the stairs because he had his nightshirt on, which was about 3/4 of a length, and he kept tripping on that to go up the steps. And then they were wet and slipping, and I heard him thumping, and I couldn't see anything by that time. It was black dark. There was no lights at that time. You couldn't light a lamp; it wouldn't light. I tried it. So I went down and I held his nightshirt up so he could get upstairs.
In the middle of the night, no lights.
Oh.
12 o'clock at night.
Imagine this.
And then we had the cistern there with a pump on it, but I thought of going out with a pail in each hand, going out to the water trough to get water.
I mean, why would you, a
Yeah.
simple
The cistern,
pump
we were
with
saving our soft water, you see, in the house on
soft
fire.
water.
And as I opened the door, then I could see a reflection of the flames on the barn. So then I hollered, the roof's on fire. Of course, I screamed my head off. And then I had a pail in each hand. I went tearing out to the water trough. This is the end of October.
Cold.
And I caught my toe in my pajama legs as I was going through the gate. And I was skinned.
Oh.
Right? And I got these 2 pails of water, and Raymond got the ladder up against the house. And I went to, he took a pail. I carried the
Yeah.
water. He took 1 pail and went up. And he reached over to get the other pail, and I was trying to reach it up above my head.
You can't do
You ought to try it. Sometimes reach a pail of water
Yeah,
up
no.
above your head to reach his hand. And it just goes down by itself. And then you got to waste time to go up another step.
You're saying?
You're so frantic to make, not waste time. Of course, this time Dad was down inside and he was poking around for sparks in the roof, and it burned a hole about that size on the roof.
Was it from around the chimney?
It was right beside the chimney, but a mouse chewed a match in the dirty shirt pocket and the dirty clothes basket.
That's what they think.
Well, we're pretty sure it did because it was right beside the chimney and it wasn't the chimney.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, Dad was poking around for sparks, and Raymond was on top with his pail of cold water out of the water trough at the end of October. And Dad said, "There's a spark." Raymond said, "Yeah, I see it." And he dumped a half a pail of water right down on Dad. I can still hear Dad say, "Blah." Oh, God. That was a terrible night. And then Mom, we were afraid she might get a heart attack, so we put her in the bedroom with the baby. And
Which
shut
was-
the door, the only room in the house that had a door on you could keep the smoke out of. And it was right under the fire.
That was right next door. I mean, isn't that funny?
Oh man.
Well, not right under the fire.
So then what happened? Did you get it out? You got
We
it
got
out?
it out, and thank goodness it didn't get into the high
Mm.
roof. It was just a lean-to roof right beside
Oh,
the chimney.
goodness.
And but it took me about a year to get over that fire. I got thin. I went right down to nothing veneer.
Right.
You
It
were
was
just worried.
such a shock.
So did
Yeah.
Uncle Vernon and Aunt Jean arrive the next
Yeah,
day?
we were ready for them.
He had the roof all patched and everything?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember that. I didn't have to do that, but I had to help Mom get ready for company. But they were lucky to have a place to come to.
Yeah.
So, what
Would have made a good comedy.
warriors again? So you, Uncle Raymond was in the.
Yeah, we went to Fairlight in 1941 in the lumberyard, and he was in there for 4 years, and then he got a job at Mayor in the Cheryl Crane elevator. And then we stayed there for 4 years at Mayor, 2 years at Mayor, and then we went to Ryerson for 4 years. And then we went back to Fairlight again for 18, and then he retired. And we went,
Well, did he ever get drafted or anything? Was he, or not drafted, but
he was
conscripted?
too old. He was too old.
He was too old at that time.
We moved quite often, when you think of it, there for a while.
4 times.
Well,
Yeah.
So June, do you remember? What do you remember from? Were you living at the? Do you remember the living at
We
the,
moved to Fairlight when June was 2 years old.
oh, okay. So you grew up in
Fairlight.
Fairlight then? Yeah.
Well, I don't remember much about that house. Not a lot. I can
Well, we were there
remember
for 4
Grandma.
years.
I can remember Grandma coming to babysit us. I guess when you went in to have the twins.
No,
Well,
because
who was there then?
Gwen Clark was.
But
When
Grandma
she-
was there with Carol and I.
Yeah, we went to Winnipeg that time. We
Oh,
took
you and Aunt
Dwayne.
May.
No,
No? Well, why was Carol with us?
Carol Swanson?
Yeah, Carol Swanson and I.
Raymond and I went, and we took the baby, Dwayne, with us. And we went to McGaffin's in Winnipeg.
Oh, well,
But Carol must have been just staying with you or something. Or maybe Mom was, I don't know.
we must have been very little, 3 years old or so. I've got pictures.
Oh, it was before the twins were born.
Yeah. But then I can remember when you brought the twins home.
You
With
know,
the
Gwen Clark
rocking
stayed
chair.
with you then.
How old were you then? How old were you when the
I would have
twins were
been,
born?
what, 3.5?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember.
I
that.
remember when Elroy was born. I was just 3 past.
Oh my goodness.
Well, from March to
But then I
October.
never saw my mother again, Daryl, after the twins came along, because they were just,
When you
I had
got
to
two.
take off with my dad then, you see.
So what do you think about that, Ray? Of being, growing up, living in,
Do you remember that house in Fairlight?
No, I don't think so.
I used to dress you up. Me too. I
Kind
remember
of
you
in the
dressing
yard, but not
Yeah,
really.
no, I can't remember a lot of it.
Don't
It was
remember.
really Ryerson that I remember lots of
Yeah, I
stories.
remember Ryerson.
Bond School.
yeah, growing up
Going
in
to the
school.
school and
Yeah,
What school was it?
Bond.
Bond and Ryerson.
Bond School. Had to go from,
Bond.
throwing
how big of a school was it described as?
one room. It was just the one room.
8 grades in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were 8 kids going to Ryerson school after the twins started. The twins were always over at the school, so Peggy Bond was teaching, and she said, well, let them come to school, so I let them go to school before they were supposed to start. And when we moved to Fairlight, then we took half the school of Bond,
Yeah.
Ryerson school to Fairlight,
Four of us in
because there was only 8 kids going.
I think I kind of remember trying to, like I didn't like doing some of the schoolwork, so I would try to pretend I was gay and we'd change desks.
Oh.
They had our name, the names on the desk so they could tell
Yeah.
us apart. So we'd switch desks. We weren't smart enough to realize, well, I was left-handed, so they could see that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But we tried. Because they couldn't.
Growing up as a twin on the prairies, was that, there weren't that many twins around, were there?
Except
Well,
in
there was quite a
Fairlight.
few around that time, yeah.
Was there?
Was there?
Yeah.
Not in Fairlight.
No, but around. We bought the double carriage from Harry Allison. They had this double baby carriage, and we bought it for our twins. And then Massey Harris and Thelma had twins, boys, and they bought it from us. And then what was his name? Smith. What was his name?
Was there a guy named
Well-
Massey Harris?
Well, his name was Leonard,
Oh.
but the Merrifield was full of
Everybody had nicknames.
nicknames.
Oh.
Did you have a nickname, Mom?
Yeah, I was Durdley.
Oh, that's Mildred
That's
spelled
Durdley.
backwards.
Oh.
Did you have a nickname?
No, I don't think I did.
What about
Did you?
How about you, Ray?
No, nobody could ever remember my name. I never
Because-
had one.
Because you were probably mixed up, right, between you and Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Val
Reggae.
Neal, when she wanted him, she'd say, "Come here, Twinnie."
Or reggae.
Or
reggae.
Reggae.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember reggae.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they could make sure to get the name.
It's funny, it was probably before reggae was actually happening. The music
Yeah.
reggae.
Yeah.
But we always had lots of fun times at Grandma and Grandpa Swanson's.
The farm.
Yeah.
I remember, but it
And
was
in
it
Derryfield,
was Gerald
too.
and Carol, I think. Brian.
Right. But we didn't go to the McGill farm half as much. But they were in Eber, Manitoba, which
Yeah.
was
They'd
maybe that much further.
go on the old peanut dump.
Oh, I can
Remember that?
remember doing that.
The train.
Yeah, on the
And
train.
getting off at
You
Uncle Jim's and
Yeah,
getting ice cream cone before we
yeah.
went to the farm.
Do you remember technology? Telephones, airplanes? Do you remember? What was your impression of that?
I can remember the old telephone. June's got one on the wall here like Dad had. That is
Were you
the
amazed by
one.
it?
Hmm?
Were you amazed by it? What were your thoughts when you first were introduced to the telephone?
Oh, I don't know. It was there. That was all.
Electricity? What did you think of
Well, they didn't have electricity on the farm when I was home. We had to wash lamp chimneys all the time.
So it's coal lamp.
Two on the house. One Christmas Eve, Dad was going to start the gas lamp, and he was pumping it up, and